Okay, if you're new to rugby, here's an explanation of New Zealand provincial. Basically, think of it kind of as a pro league. That's the best way that I can see it so far. Um, there's players from there that are on the national team, all that. It's really good rugby in my opinion. What you're gonna get with it is some strong defensive teams that only have strong defense and not a lot else going for them. Not all teams are like that. You're gonna run across that in any kind of competition, especially if there's enough teams in that competition. And with New Zealand, there's 14. Okay? Taranaki, Hawke's Bay, Kennedy's Manukau, Auckland, Wellington, Southland, Canterbury, Otago, Tasman, Waikato, North Harbour, Northland, Manawatu, and Bay Plain. So, you do have some really strong teams, some really strong play throughout it. You aren't going to get as much kicking as you would necessarily with, say, top 14 from France, but, you know, it just is what it is. It's still strong, competitive play. If you're starting out now, the season's already about halfway over, a little bit more than halfway, and coming in, you'd probably be a Canterbury fan. The reason I say that is right now, to me, they are the strongest. I don't know what the rankings are for anyone else. I do my own rankings. I don't even check with, World Rugby or anything like that. I don't watch videos on rugby. I just watch games, okay? So, they are the strongest team. They look like they're going to win it. They play well. They play strong. They play tough. I can see possibly people getting into Northland. Northland is steady. They grind you down all game, and you have to fight for a win. Not saying that they win all the time, but they are a tough team. They're going to know that you play them, right? That just is what it is. Another team that people coming in will probably gravitate to, because I know I've kind of gravitated to some of these teams as well, and that's Tasman. Another strong team. I don't care where they are in anyone else's standings. In mine, they're number 2. And that's because they play well. They find ways to win consistently. They lost to Tasman, and I think they lost one other game. Maybe 2. That's it. They've been kicking ass. So, I know some people like the underdog, but you don't know what the underdog is until you catch a few games. So, I know not everyone hates Auckland. I don't hate Auckland either, but right now, it's not their season, okay? I'm going to tell you flat out, there's a team that I liked game 1. I saw something I liked. I rooted for them, and I no longer do. And I'm not saying that people won't like this team or whatever, but they have plenty. Right now, they are not playing their strongest by any means. They are not playing a style that suits them. They are playing a style of the area. It's the best way that I can really put it. And hopefully people understand what I mean by that. If you don't, that's fine. But what I mean is they could play more with the kicking game since they have stronger kickers. And there is a kicking game still in New Zealand, in provincial, absolutely. And it's well used. But drop goals aren't really used, and kicks are only used in a few kinds of ways. Sometimes they're used to gain ground and all that, but there are teams that's what they're built for. They have strong runners and everything else. So you are going to get some of that with provincial as well. Southland, sure, some people might be a fan of them, but the problem I have with Southland, personally, right, is that they're a second half team. And my brother thought, oh, you wouldn't like this one game because, they came back from behind and the second and one, and I'm like, no, I have no problem with that. But the problem is when you always have to come from behind, when you always have to lose the first half, and then you kick it on. There's a problem there. When it happens consistently, that either means you're sandbagging the first half, trying to beat them up, and not trying to win, and then you're trying to win the second half. Or if you try to go the whole way you could just win the whole thing and not have to beat them and yourself up as badly. So, that is what it is. Maybe I'm getting it wrong with they're playing, they're just doing the best they can, but this is what it really looks like, right? So, there you go. But, like I said, 14 teams. Every area has its own style. The U.S. has its style of play. It just does. Ireland, I'm sure that the teams that aren't the national side have a style of play conducive to Ireland's national side, because that's what people are trying to get to. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to run into a bit of that, but it's still good rugby, good games, and I'm looking forward to the shit this weekend, including the shit tonight, right? Which is, tonight? Tanaki versus Hawke's Bay tonight, right? I believe for men's and women's. But either way, should be a great game.